Talk to Joe on 1850 715 815.
And Joe at RT.ie. Edward O'Sullivan, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Joe. How are you?
Good, thanks. You contacted us, Edward, about this new phenomenon. It's called OneCoin.
That's correct.
How did you get involved in it? Well, first of all, how much money have you put into it so far, into OneCoin?
I've just put €900.
And do you reckon your money is gone?
Oh, yes, definitely.
Okay, well, tell us about OneCoin and how you became involved.
Fine. Well, in fact, I live down in Tipperary, and a gentleman locally approached me in connection with OneCoin, indicating that it was a business opportunity he wanted to offer me. That was about March in 2015.
Okay.
He kind of kept at me for about 5 or 6 months. And during that period, every time I met him, and I would have bumped into him maybe 20 times, he would always go on about it. Indeed, he went on about it to my wife as well. So eventually, in the end of August 2015, I decided to purchase these particular OneCoin packages, the ones I went for. And the reason, to some extent, Joe, was that I was just fed up with him going on and on and on.
Okay.
Sounds crazy, really, but it was just easier to get him out of my way, you know.
And did you, by the way, had he any previous business involvement? Did you Google him or find out anything about him?
No, I didn't know anything about him other than that obviously he was living in this local area. I subsequently Googled him once I became very unhappy with the quote-unquote service I was receiving. And at that point, I found he had a track record of pyramid schemes and other difficulties.
What previous schemes was he involved in?
Oh, he was involved with Banners Brokers, who were a sales organisation, I believe, were on your show some years ago.
And a lot of people lost a lot of money. So, Edward O'Sullivan, what did you get for your €900 that you eventually relented? What do you get for that?
Well, in fact, I, on my behalf and on behalf of my family, bought 7 starter packages. They were priced at €100 each, which is 700, but in addition there was €30 administrative charge for setting up each account. So the gross amount was 910. And for that, I got access to OneCoin. And OneCoin is a cryptocurrency.
Cryptocurrency, okay.
And I don't know whether you want me to explain that at all. The best known history of cryptocurrency is an organisation called Bitcoin, which started in 2008. And OneCoin were then describing themselves as the next Bitcoin, recognising that Bitcoin had a phenomenal growth over the 6 or 7 years that I mentioned. And in fact, although people were buying it at 50 cents in 2008, about 3 weeks ago it was worth €6,000, believe it or not.
Okay, so it's linking into that. I'm sure they're giving loads of examples of people who made money out of Bitcoin, but this is called OneCoin. But if you say it's a cryptocurrency, is it up and running? You say you bought these packs.
Yeah, it started trading globally in late 2014, and the gentleman who sold it to me described himself as the pioneer of OneCoin, and he started in January 2015, and during my knowledge of working with him or meeting him, etc., he signed up in advance of 2015. People who join were called affiliates. They are also called associates and other names. But he brought 2,000 people into it, and the average price is about €1,000 per individual. So he brought in about €2 million worth of business, and this was declared by him at various meetings during the period January 2015 up to June 2016.
So many seminars have there been in Ireland, and how many people attend, insofar as you know?
Sorry, say again, Joe?
How many seminars have there been in Ireland, and how many people attend?
I would think typically there would be about 80 to 120 people in a seminar.
Wow.
Those seminars were normally hosted by one of the affiliates locally. Typically what would happen is an affiliate would bring 1 or 2 potential recruits with him.
Yeah.
And at the end of the meeting, the affiliate would have a one-to-one discussion with them after the end of the training. So obviously it was a direct sales platform in that particular respect. There must have been at least 2 to 3 seminars every month, and in addition to that, someone would come over from elsewhere from Europe on perhaps a quarterly basis, who'd be called typically a European ambassador, and he would have a kind of razzmatazz seminar in a hotel.
Okay, well, given that you mentioned Europe, in Germany, the German financial regulator has told OneCoin to cease and desist from all of their activities there. OneCoin transferred €360 million in unauthorised payments from Germany to Dubai in 2016. In the UK, this is all information we're getting from the police and the regulators across Europe since you contacted us. In the UK, as part of the City of London's police investigation into OneCoin, 3 people have been arrested on suspicion of money laundering in Austria. OneCoin is not allowed to carry out banking transactions in Austria. The Austrian regulator says, we issued an investor's warning because OneCoin started to sell its currency through a multi-level marketing plan, mainly selling education material, which is the case here in Ireland. You needed to buy a education pack in order to get the cryptocurrency. In India, police raided a OneCoin marketing event and arrested 18 people. In Ireland, when we rang the financial regulator in the central bank, they basically said it's nothing to do with us. That's what they said. So when you hand over your 900 quid, you just get documentation, an education pack. You don't get a computer code for your coin or.
No, what I got was effectively a receipt in which the password were identified and the username, and I was also then, as part of it, offered tokens, free tokens, as part of the deal. What actually happens is that OneCoin are using the educational packages as the selling product, quote unquote, but obviously everyone's going in for the coin value. So along with the educational package, you get tokens which are turned into coins.
Edward, at these meetings, did you get a sense of who the other investors were?
Yeah, they were mainly male. They would probably be, average age would be about between 50 and 65. And there was a little acronym used by the guy in question. He said, we like to welcome TOMs, T-O-M's, to the meeting. And we asked him, what do you mean by TOMs? He said, we like to invite people who will trust you, looking for an opportunity, and have the money.
Okay. By the way,
you must have thought I was a Tom, yeah?
I want my money back. Can you get your money back?
Well, I've sought to get my money back because I've created a fair amount of difficulty for the gentleman in question and the organisation as a whole. And eventually, in about November 2016, I was extraordinarily terminated from OneCoin under what they determine are their terms and conditions. And that meant that not only did I lose my original investment, but also I lost any growth that had developed from then. So in fact, that 910 at that point in time was probably worth in the region of ostensibly about 12,000 euros. And in fact, if I were to have those coins now, it would be in excess of 23,000.
But this is on paper.
Oh, yeah, it's pie in the sky.
Yeah.
What's not on paper is that I actually invested 910 euros, and although they said they will give it to me back, their legal officer, as a gesture, they have never done so.
But they've terminated you.
Yeah, what they call extraordinary termination.
And we've spoken to several people who've put tens of thousands into this. Now, do you think, given that it is multi-layered marketing, and I don't know what the product is, if there is any product, do you think this is a pyramid scheme, Edward?
Oh, I'm convinced it's a pyramid scheme. The definition of a pyramid scheme is essentially that money comes from recruitment rather than from any tangible product. And there is no tangible product. As you said, no one really knows what it is.
And I said the Austrian financial regulator says they're banned in Austria because it's a multi-level marketing plan.
Yeah, in fact, in Italy over the last few months, the Italians have been very vigorous in attacking OneCoin, and they've issued a fine on the affiliates in Italy for something in the region of €3.5 million. In addition, they've actually asked the affiliates to provide the lists of all their people who are under them to identify and chase the money. So a number of countries are actually going fairly heavy on it. One of the warning signs that came to me is during 2015, 2016, OneCoin were having to change their banks almost on a weekly basis because of money laundering concerns. And in fact, at this point in time, there's over 25 banks that have actually ceased operations with OneCoin because of concerns associated with money laundering and a pyramid scheme, I guess.
Now, the problem we found before, Edward, when you start doing pyramid schemes and banners broker, as the last one we did, so to speak, people panic because they see the whole thing will come tumbling down, but that the longer it keeps going, the people up the top level, they will get some money back. But the longer it keeps, so it becomes a total panic where people say, "Oh, don't collapse it! They get distressed. Please don't collapse it." But it will eventually collapse.
Well, that would be my opinion as well, Joe. And specifically, I have written to the number of the affiliates here in Ireland saying, I think you ought to cease and desist for this reason yourself. And in fact, I've called on the Irish pioneer who started this up to actually call an extraordinary general meeting so that we can discuss the current situation. Okay. But the really interesting thing, Joe, is many of the people who are still active in it kind of refuse to acknowledge all the facts that are out there. And I think it's probably a view that, Christ, I've been very silly doing this in the first place, so it's kind of embarrassment. But the other is, well, at the end of the day, you never know, there might be something that comes through, you know. They are going to an alleged public exchange in 2018. They're issuing what they called an ICO, which is an initial coin offering.
Okay.
And that's a hope that the affiliates have. Okay. I have no hope in it at all.
Okay. Edward O'Sullivan, thanks indeed. 51551.
Talk to Joe on 1850 715 815.